Hello everybody, welcome back to my movie review series. Today we'll be discussing Déjà Vu, Already Seen. I have already seen it. The movie literally translates to already seen. Very popular French phrase. You know how we do it? My constitutional rights are violated. I would be a touring musician or a lecturer and about 15 different things. I would have about 15 different careers if one person would treat me with decency and respect. So I continue to lead off all of my videos with somebody please help me. My constitutional rights are violated. My property is destroyed because of it. I can't have a career or family because of it. And so I know you guys think it's cool, fun, smart math stuff, but it's really just my life and I don't get to live it because you guys won't let me. So I'll do another movie review. Again, I got to the end of the summer until I'm completely fucked because nobody respects my life to any capacity at all, and I'm not allowed to network and I can't access my credentials. And I'm applying to jobs and I don't get a single interview for anything. So I don't know what the fuck to do. So I'll do another movie review and just let my life rot away because it's never going to change. So you know how we do it. I will give you my overall impressions and grade. After that, we'll be discussing the plot synopsis. So if you've not seen it and would like to, based or not based on my recommendation, you want to turn off the video. There will be spoiler alerts. Also discussing character development and any similar movies or major themes. You can watch it for free right now on Tubi. I think it's leaving soon. But all of these older movies you can find on one of these free sites or whatever. It says the team of top secret program brings brings ATF agent Doug Carlin, played by Denzel Washington, into its midst to capture the terrorist Jim Caviezel, responsible for a ferry bombing that left hundreds dead. Its amazing technology lets the team fold time 4 days backwards to see the madman's movements as he plots to kill a woman who could give him away. Doug realizes that the technology could allow him to do what law enforcement officers dream of, go back in time to prevent crime. Originally released in 2006, directed by Tony Scott, did 180 million at the box office with a budget of $75 million. So again, I have seen this one before. Google says why to watch it. It's psychological, suspenseful, and mind-bending. Again, I thoroughly enjoy the sci-fi genre. Time travel, again, like the one we did yesterday, Volition was just not interesting to me. This one was more interesting the first time I watched it because once you solve all the physics, it's hard to again, when you have multiple timelines and multiple characters, it just really doesn't make sense. And you can't make sense of things that don't make sense. And so, overall, this one had some entertainment value. It wasn't super entertaining, so I'm going to give it a B-. So I recommend it if you've not seen it. I find it at the lower end of entertaining, if you don't mind time travel stuff. Again, it's very similar to Source Code, but I thought Source Code was more believable than this one. And just some things in the plot I thought could have been tighter or better, or written better. So if you've not seen it and would like to, I definitely find this one entertaining on the lower end, but we'll be discussing the plot synopsis and character development now. So the movie opens up, you don't have very much narration or anything, you just see a bunch of different scenes. You have a bunch of people getting on this ferry, a bunch of seamen, not S-E-A-M-A-N, what's long, hard, and full of semen? A submarine. Shout out Patrick Travis from 7th grade. Kid from 7th grade had the balls to stand up and say that in front of the whole class. So shout out to Patrick Travis. And somebody actually answered it. I think her name was Abby. Regardless, the movie opens up, you get a bunch of cutscenes, a bunch of sailors go on this boat, like Navy officers. The setting is current to in 2006. So it's present day to when the movie was made, and it is set in Louisiana. And so a bunch of people, men, women, and children, mostly military types, are getting onto this big ferry to go have a party. So the conductor is like, they're all on time, let's get them to their party. And the ferry takes off and goes into the harbor or to the canal or wherever it's located. I don't know if it's a real pier, but it's called Algiers Pier, if that's a real place, I don't know. But regardless, they go out into the harbor, and one of the security guards is going along. They have a car deck to take cars across, and he notices some strange stuff. He's looking into it, and sees this bomb rigged up to it, and then a huge explosion. So a big carnage scene. It's rated PG-13, so it's not graphic or any. I think you might be able to see one nipple in one scene, but it's not rated PG-13, not graphic. And so the thing blows up. Then you meet ATF agent Doug Carlin, played by Denzel Washington. I think his partner is Paul, who's a minor character, and just these older movies, when it's 15, 20 years old, it's hard to match the characters to the actors and actresses off of the cast list. And a lot of time Google doesn't even have the whole full character name out there. So, regardless, Doug Carlin is on the scene. He starts investigating. He finds he goes like under the bridge. It's like by this bridge, and he goes to the bridge. So the first they're trying to determine if it's a terrorist attack, and he finds some like blast caps and some just shrapnel on like the rocks of the seabed or the shore, and he's very confident that this is a bomb. So Doug Carlin's the one that breaks the case, saying it's a bomb. You meet some other this special FBI team, and there's a bunch of different ones. You have who was the main guy? Agent Jack, Bruce Greenwood's character is kind of the head guy. You have Dr. Alexander something, played by Adam Goldberg. You have, I think the Agent Paul dude was the partner, but that was a minor character. Gunners, he's on the team. I think Shanti's on the team, or Kathy, one of those two is on the team. Actually, I think Agent Larry is his partner, so I don't know. Again, I'm going to mess up some of the characterizations. But regardless, he makes it out that it's definitely a terrorist attack, as well as he finds his body. You meet a deceased lady, Claire Kuchaver, and she is getting an autopsy at the morgue. And so her fingers are cut off. Doug does like a black light over her mouth and sees that she's been duct taped. And so he's suspecting that she has been killed, or figures out or deduces that she has been killed before the bomb went off and has been dumped into the... Well, Doug doesn't find the body, but he gets called into it. But regardless, he deduces that she was killed and burned prior to the explosion and dumped to make it look like she was a victim of the explosion. And so, trying to get some information on the perpetrator, but then pretty quickly Doug gets pulled into this FBI group where they basically say they just have satellite footage of a lot of different area, and that they're not actually interacting with the past at all, and that they can go they have 4 days and 6 hours they can see into the past, and so they're just trying to pick up clues to see who the perpetrator was to solve the crime, blah blah blah. And so they bring Doug in on because he knows the area well and he's a good agent and blah blah blah. And so now he's interacting with that quite a bit, and he because he's deduced the thing about Claire, he's like he figured out that the car that Claire had sold. He goes to her apartment to investigate. He sees "You can save her" written in like magnetic letters on the refrigerator. He sees a bunch of bloody clothes in the sink. He finds some more indicative stuff of more important stuff. I don't know. Regardless, fast forward, Doug is now aware that it's like, we should point this big surveillance thing at Claire's house and figure out, who this guy is. And so they have this, 4 days in the past, they see Claire setting up a date. She goes to, I guess Doug also hears messages on her answering machine from him as well. And so, already getting the sense of the premonition that, it's a time travel thing. But regardless, he knows to point the thing at Claire. She's trying to sell this car. And so they're trying to get get a visual on the perpetrator, which turns out to be a character called Carol, which is a dude. But they trace the phone call because he calls to inquire about buying the car. And he wants it the next day so he can put the bomb in it, and Claire's like, I can't do that until Tuesday, and he's like, no, I have to have it tomorrow. And so they track him to this payphone, and they can use just normal surveillance cameras because they're the government and they can do whatever they want, including lying about technology that's been known for 70 years, like in real life. But just destroy another human being's life and be scared in a group setting and then call it national security and thumbs up. But they follow him to a pay booth. And then he gets into a car, and they're trying to track him down, and he goes like out of range of the signal. And so there's this, they can extend the signal if they have like this goggle set thing that's tied up to this big rig Hummer, and they can just drive and extend the signal as well. And so Doug follows after him, extends the signal, and I guess probably even before this, when they're first starting to watch Claire, Doug has suspicions that they're not just watching surveillance footage, so he shines a light into like the feed, and Claire reacts with it. So a big scene of Doug, like raising hell, like what's really going on here.
And so then you have, the explanation of the broken science, cool. The Einstein-Rosen bridge, which doesn't exist. Time travel is not a thing. The spaceships that just seem to appear, they don't just appear. And so there's a variety of different ways they can maneuver that way. But why would I continue to contribute to that conversation anymore? You guys lie, cheat, and steal. You're too fucking stupid. Once you open your mouth, you just spew out speciality. You just spew out insecurity and nonsense. So you guys can't put the words to the phenomenon, and I'm not going to help you anymore. Absolutely fucking not. Just pay me my money, and you guys can keep running around like the fucking idiots you are. And so, but it's big scene where he blows up, like figures out exactly what's going on. But then he has this Hummer thing to extend the range, so now he's fully in the know of what's occurring. And so he extends the range. He's able to find the thing. He's watching both. He has this headset on where he's watching. He's driving on a road and it's showing footage from 4 days past. But he also has the present day, so he's got to drive, causes some crashes. Which I always find strange in movies where they're trying to save people, and then clearly cars are flipping over, and one goes over the side of the bridge, and it's like, you maybe just killed 3 of those people, but you're gonna save this one chick. It's like could have been a little tighter on the plot there. But they're able to track this guy, and they're able to get a face, and they get a facial recognition, and they get that's when they know it's Carol Orsted, and Doug follows him back to this other property where he finds this big, where they see on the 4 days past, they see this big intact building, and in real time Doug sees an ambulance had plowed through the building. It had been blown up, and then there was some just more signs of struggle with inside the building. So regardless, they get the address of Carol Ortstadt. They drive and they go to this place, this warehouse that they find from the headset, and he's there. He tries to flee, maybe shoots at him a little bit. There's a huge ATF, police, FBI presence, and so he surrenders, and now they take him in. Doug Carlin interviews him. I thought I like Denzel Washington as an actor, but I thought he was a strong character. But he interviews Carol, and he's talking about how he failed to get into all these military branches, and he's basically protesting the government because he's a patriot and they wouldn't let him in, and so he's going to kill a bunch of people. Classic American mindset. And so, regardless, they get the confession, blah blah blah. They figure that out. Claire. Well, basically, I guess before this, I missed this. Agent Paul. So I missed a big part. So they're trying to figure out if they can send stuff back in time once Doug realizes that it's an actual feed from the past, and so they send back a letter where. He sends it to himself saying, there's a big bomb threat at the Aegir's Pier. And so his partner, Paul, or whoever the partner, maybe Larry, finds it. And because in the real-time line, Doug had seen his partner's car there, and he's like, hey, is my partner here? And they're like, no, these are the cars of the victims. Sorry about that. So his partner's implied to be dead from the ferry explosion. But once they send back this note, and his partner picks it up, finds Carol, transporting her, going to his place, and he shoots and kills him, or shoots and wounds him, takes him back to his place. He's about to burn him, and he's still alive, so he kills him. And so they realize that they've changed something, but nothing really. And so they're kind of the motif is this is actually going to change the future in any capacity. And so regardless, after they interview Carol Ortstadt, they get him to confess, and they have the evidence, and so. Basically, the agent, the chief dude, Agent Jack, Bruce Greenwood's character is basically shut down the program. It's not really above board. We can't really use this to prosecute stuff or something. But regardless, Doug calls back the Dr. Alexander, and he's like, basically, send me back. His whole body, and try to save Claire and stop the bombing in general. And so he gets sent back. He's in his underwear. He gets sent to a hospital. He's under cardiac arrest. They revive him, and he walks out of the hospital, steals a gun, which is also strange because he's a verifiable ATF agent. If he needed to commandeer an ambulance, he wouldn't have to pull a gun on another officer. So it could have been tighter there. Regardless, he has this big ambulance. He's about 2 hours to the explosion. And so he just starts rushing towards the second property where Carol is at. Carol already has Claire kidnapped. She scratches his face, and so the reason that her fingers were cut off in the opening autopsy was because Carol was trying to get away with DNA under her fingertips, so he cuts off her fingers. They don't see it, and they don't do it in the second timeline. So again, not a gory movie. But Doug rams the ambulance in right as he's about to start cutting off her fingers. He gets shot in the shoulder, but he's able to. Carol kind of like leaves, and Doug is able to rescue Claire. They go back to her place. Doug, knows the future now, and so he tells her not to wear a certain dress. He's able to predict when her girlfriend Bethany's going to call, and so Claire pulls a gun on him, like, who are you? You didn't ask for a statement, blah blah blah. Doug has Claire verify who he is with his office, and so then she kind of helps him, patches him up with his bullet wound, and they have a plan to go and defuse the bomb. They can't call the police because by the time they're up to speed, they would have already gone off. Blah blah blah. So Doug goes there. They see Carol, planting the bomb or driving up the truck, Claire's truck, and so Doug runs in there, gets told by normal security he can't be on the car deck. And Claire decides and sees Carol Orstadt going back, or sees that the plan's not going according to what they planned. So she jumps back on the ship. Carol kidnaps her again, ties her up to the steering wheel hub, and the bomb is still in there. And so Carol gets confronted by a lot of police officers or security guards and starts shooting them. So it's a big party boat, so everyone starts looking over the railing, what's going on. Carol kills a good amount of security guards. Doug comes back in, and he starts shooting a little bit. He's down to one bullet. He empties the mag and puts one in the chamber, but it has it drawn back where it's not loaded, so it looks like he's taken out the magazine and the ammo entirely. And so he comes out with his hands up, holding the gun like that. And he cites the exact quotes about being a patriot back to Carol that he had said to him in the interview after he got abducted or captured in the first timeline. And so Carol starts spraying at Doug. Claire slams on the gas and pins Carol up, and Doug pops up with the one round and shoots it in the head. So Carol is now dead, but they still have Claire tied to the car. The bomb's in the car, and nobody else knowing what's going on. So a bunch more security guards pull up, they're right next to him, get out of the car, and Doug's like, if we get out of the car, everybody's dead. So they drive the car into the ocean, and Doug is able to kick out the windshield, and Claire is able to escape with, the steering wheel hub still connected, and then Doug can't get out of the car. Why can't he just swim through the broken windshield just like Claire did? So that also didn't make any sense to me on the second time watching this. But regardless, Doug does not get out of the car, and it explodes. And so Doug is now dead, and then Claire gets taken up, and then she's it gets taken in with some officers, and they're there's a special agent that's going to come talk to you, and it's Doug from the past timeline. So these movies would be a lot stronger with me if they just actually left it you actually changed the timeline. Doug is now dead, he's not a person anymore, but once it's just you have multiple of the same character, it just does absolutely nothing for me. Because it doesn't make any sense. And so, regardless, that's kind of the thing, the resolution is, Doug asks Claire just some questions, and Claire uses a line that Doug used on her when she wasn't sure how Doug knew everything, but she was if there's said something, the most important thing to tell somebody, but you knew they wouldn't believe them, what would you do? And Denzel's I would try, and he kind of laughs and nah. So that is the resolution to the movie. Overall, again, the physics continuity doesn't make any sense. Some entertainment value for me on this one. And kind of a normal crime drama with no science fiction gets a little dull unless it's done really well. And this science fiction wasn't too strong, but if science fiction was decent entertainment and some science fiction was some decent entertainment, I thought it was the lower end of entertaining. So overall, B-. Again, please somebody help me. I just need a time frame to manage my money, and then 7 years of the most prolific scientific stress goes away instantly. And the answer to that is no. No publication, no identification, no hoopla, nothing changes besides I feel safe enough to buy food comfortably. And the answer to that is no. So I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing. You're disgusting fucking people, and what you've done to me will be done to your children and grandchildren. No exceptions. So thank you for watching my movie review of Déjà Vu, and I'll see you on the next one.